cancer doesn't care. Cancer doesn't care how you handle it. Cancer doesn't care what your day looks like. And it doesn't care if you cry. It doesn't care if you moan or
if it doesn't care if you stay positive either.
Yeah, it doesn't either. So you have to do what is right for your brain. You have to do what your brain can withstand.
Happy birthday to you!
Dayton Frederick from Wisconsin is battling one of the rarest and most aggressive cancers in the world for the second time. The first journey began October of 2021.
I had been having these weird dizzy spells. So they were completely random. I had had this like laughing fit, and after that laughing fit I realized I couldn't breathe properly afterwards. My breathing capacity during that like breath was about half of what it should have been. And I thought it was just like bronchitis or something. I kind of downplayed what it was because I had just gotten a new job and I didn't want to screw it up.
Dayton eventually went in for tests.
I walk out of the room. The people back in the CT scan room were calling me because they said, "You have a mass in your heart. You need to go to the ER immediately." There's no way. I was angry. I was like, I'm not going down like this.
Doctors scheduled surgery immediately.
Now, the tumor itself was the size of a lime. And
sitting on one of the valves of the heart.
Blood was backing up into my lungs.
Which is why they had that bronchitis kind of.
Which is why I couldn't breathe. They get the tumor out, and the tumor itself is attached to my heart wall. They got as much as possible without damaging my heart further. And then they fully closed me back up with the staples and everything and wait about an hour to make sure that my vitals are okay. After about an hour, something in my vitals flutters. They did a scan and a massive blood clot had formed in the time. So they had to open me up again and go back in. My mom almost hit the floor.
And so they literally had to reopen the chest, undo all the closing work, reopen it all back up, remove the blood clot, and then close it back up again.
Yeah. So 2 full open heart surgeries.
Dayton was diagnosed with a cardiac sarcoma.
One of the first things he told us was that,
oh God,
this is a very, very rare cancer. 0.001% of any people who get cancer will get a cancer like this. It's a very aggressive primary cardiac sarcoma. And he had to let Dayton know right away that no one who's ever had this cancer has lived longer than 8 years. Do you know what it's been like having that number in the back
of our heads, especially with this new diagnosis?
This entire time. How do you live your life like that? When you're 20, how do you plan for a future if you don't know you're gonna have one? Like, how do you plan for a future that may only be 8 years or may not?
In May of 2022, after 6 months of chemo and 6 weeks of radiation, Dayton's treatments were complete. Family waited and hoped the treatment would be effective. But in November of 2024, Dayton started feeling unwell again.
I would wake up 3 to 4 times in the middle of the night with the most excruciating pain in my back that I've ever experienced. I had to sleep on couches, air mattresses, anything other than a bed, and it still would just be excruciating. So I got a PET scan. My T6 vertebrae was one of the things that lit up in that scan. They attributed it to the radiation that I had received 2 years prior because it was right behind where I had received that radiation. They saw a compression fracture in that T6 vertebrae. It had compressed by 30% of its height at that point. It also showed that I had a partially collapsed lung and I had these two little spots on that T6 vertebrae that looked at the time like swollen lymph nodes. That MRI is when they realized, oh, this isn't lymph nodes, because this is not where lymph nodes are. This is metastatic sarcoma. It is kind of attached to the spine, and it's mainly attached to the muscles in the, like, between the ribs. So it's like right next to that T6, which is likely what caused the fracture, is those tumors developing. It has a diameter right now of 10 centimeters.
Which is what, grapefruit?
It's about grapefruit size. It's getting pretty close to collapsing my right bronchial tube. The problem is that it is behind my lungs, attached to my spine, but within the rib cage.
Dayton battles debilitating pain every day.
First it was the back pain from that compression fracture, but the tumor itself, apparently it reacts to treatments in such a way that the tumor itself is in pain. And it's a part of me, so it causes me pain. And like, it's not just like, oh, my ribs hurt because it's pulling on them. No, it is the tumor itself that is in pain.
Feel it move and shift. And
it's attached in one spot, so it, like, if I like kind of lean forward or like change positions in some way, it kind of hangs wherever it is oriented. Sorry.
Yeah.
It kind of pulls. Yeah, it just did it again. It pulls on the muscles that it's attached to, and causes pain that way. I'll be fine, and then it will be a just flare of like level 9 pain.
It's almost like a pregnancy.
It feels like I am a host to something that is actively trying to kill me, and it frankly is very insulting.
Dayton initially started radiation again.
And they had to stop after 3 weeks because I have officially received the maximum amount of radiation that I can receive to that area in my lifetime. I can no longer receive any kind of radiation there, even if it recurs after this one.
Now they will try other chemo treatments.
Yeah, we're gonna just see if it works, and we don't know.
We don't know an end date right now.
Yeah, they haven't told us an end date because there isn't one. It all just depends on how it reacts to the treatment.
They've told us point blank that it's not something they can cure.
It's possible that they can kill it. However, with how big it is and how aggressive it is and how resistant to treatment it has been currently, we're not sure. We're in kind of a limbo stage right now, and one of the things that we're kind of trying to do is we're planning a trip to the Grand Canyon because I have never seen it.
I always promised I'd take her, so.
Yeah. But just things like that, we're looking for things that I can experience. Amount of community that I've found in this journey has really been keeping me going.
Their state Medicaid doesn't cover out-of-state treatments, so the family is focusing on raising money while also spreading awareness.
My driving force is rage. So,
Spite, anger.
Rage and spite. So, I was like, I want to do this so that people can see what it's like, and also to kind of stick it to this tumor for being an asshole.
If you have somebody that's going through this, do not let them be alone. Even if they're just like, they can't get out of bed, get in bed with them and just talk to them, watch a video with them. Don't let them be alone. Because the things that go through your head at a time like this are things that you shouldn't be alone for. It's brutal. Sometimes you have to give yourself permission to just grieve the future you thought you were gonna have. What about all my plans and things like that? You don't take the time to grieve for that, because your future might be different. It may not be bad, but it's gonna be different, and that's okay.
Yeah.
For Inside Edition Digital, I'm Andrea Swindall.